track. It's the men's 5,000 metres, and weren't we treated to an absolute spectacle in Oslo? Can there be a feel-good factor still lingering from there?
Nico Young is in this field. He won in Oslo in a new American outdoor record. There's a technicality there. Grant Fisher still has the American record outright, 12:44.09 from that facility in Boston, University of Boston, that has so many fast times. So I wonder if Nico Young, he's done the 12:45, he's proven himself. Does he need to try and attack that American record if he's got anything left in his legs? And you think he should be recovered. He didn't go to Stockholm. Many other athletes have done all three meets. So Nico Young, he's not the pretender anymore. He's going to have a go at that American record. Two pacemakers, and Thomas on the outside there, BIRHANU of Ethiopia, and Kejelcha is still the fourth fastest man of all time, 12:38 last year in Oslo. Broke the half marathon world record in October, but then Jacob Kiplimo smashed it underneath 57 seconds. There is Nico Young. The Americans have been excited about him since he was in high school, and I think they're all happy we finally caught up with him and got on the Nico Young hype. Jimmy Gressier holds the European record on the roads at 12:57. Andras Almgren did a European record in Stockholm, and the crowd here, they've just seen Azzedine Habs obliterate the French national record. Could Gressier perhaps challenge his own national record at 12:54? Who knows with this event? Could he get on terms with Almgren's mark from Stockholm the other day? Go to inside, Jan Schrubb, European champion on the roads over 10k. El Bakali, the Olympic champion, just having a go in his first 5k in years. And Graham Blanks, another American everyone's very excited about. It was 12:48 for him in Oslo. The other Americans and the other French athletes in this field as well. And Katrofe of Uruguay, the South American national record holder at 13:05. See Soufiane El Bakali, world lead in the steeplechase. Happy to have another go at 5,000. We mentioned a while ago, but if you weren't with us, Lamette Germa won the 3k pre-program event in 8:07, his first race back since suffering horrible concussion in that Olympic final. I'm sure El Bakali would be pleased to have him back and him looking healthy. Great news for steeplechasing in this. A bit of fun for El Bakali alongside an absolutely stacked men's 5,000 metres. I'll always remember the 10,000 metres at the Olympic Games, the whole stadium cheering on Jimmy Gressier and Jan Schrubb. Jan Schrubb didn't even finish, he collapsed, and they wheelchaired him back out for a lap of honour, and the crowd went absolutely nuts. So the French fans love an endurance race, and I think the organisers here are really hyping up this event. You can see the pace lights just starting to illuminate down there. Green is going to be at the world record pace, 12:35.36. White at 12:44.09, that world lead of Andras Almgren, the new European record, and the red at 12:54 for a French record. So there are the lights, blue, green and red. They'll spread out a little bit as the laps tick off. But in Oslo, we had all this hype about the world record, and the likes of Kejelcha and Aragari and Gibrawat, they just sat off it ever so slightly, and they pulled it back to a 12:45 race, which suited Nico Young, it suited George Mills. But I wonder whether Kejelcha will have learned from that and said, no, I need to just be, 5, 6, 7 seconds faster.
Yeah, and he's got himself in a prominent position early on. El Bakali there just jogging around at the back. As you say, it's been a long time since he contested a 5,000 metres, but already strung out very, very nicely indeed. It's quick, 61.2 per lap is what they've asked for. That equates to 2:33 for the first kilometre. And you mentioned the world record. I'm not sure we're in that sort of territory this evening, but Cheptegei went through his first kilometre in 2:31 on that occasion in Monaco.
And I think to have this, another 5,000 metres in what are we talking, 8 days, also on the European circuit here at the Diamond League. The runs in Oslo and Stockholm were almost identical. It was 2:33, 5:07, 7:42 for all of them. And then Oslo slowed slightly, and they blew through to a 2:25 last kilometre. Algren was still a 2:28 on his own to win Stockholm. So I think, when you see 7:42 as a target through 3,000 metres, you think that's not quick enough. Tonight, though, they're going 7:38. So I think they know what worked in the last couple of meets, and still here in Paris, they've decided to be more aggressive. But the athletes have got to be up for it. They've got to go for it, which they didn't do in Oslo.
And the other talking point, of course, is not just Nico Young and how strong the Americans have been, but let's just put on record that 2 Europeans have gone sub 12:50 in the last few days. George Mills, who we saw earlier on, and Andreas Almgren in front of his home crowd in Stockholm.
And I think Jimmy Gressier, he's such a talent, the Frenchman. He's right in the middle of the pack, though. But they went through the first kilometre here in the men's 5,000 in 2:32, and they're clocking off the 61 second laps. The world record pace is, I think it's 60 highs, or maybe it's 61 lows, so they are round about there. So this is great, and I won't be concerned as we approach the first mile of the race. I won't be concerned if the pace lulls ever so slightly. I think that's absolutely fine, and then they can gather again for that last kilometre. But Soufiane El Bakkali just trying to keep on the back of this train, and they're moving really well. Kejelcha, I think, for me today, Yomif Kejelcha, when the pacemakers step aside, he's got to push on.
Yeah, he has. Look at that, though, strung out. Nico Young there, the tall figure in what, about 6th or 7th place there. I think he's doing absolutely fine there. He doesn't, you're absolutely right, he doesn't need to go out and blast another 12:45. I think to consolidate what he did in Oslo will be a great performance. He can go back to the US, having had a brilliant trip to Europe.
They come through now with 8 laps to go, 2 miles. So this is just the part of the race when you want to stay calm, you don't want to be overthinking it. And I was thinking of 5,000 metres, you probably get a bit bored before you get really tired. It's a really hard space to sit in. You've got to persuade yourself this pain is tolerable, not overreact to it, not start panicking. And these men, you know, they would have done that in training, but it's a really crucial part of the race here, just to stay calm and just keep your head in the game.
Approaching the 2 kilometre mark, looking one, so inside the target pace that was requested.
Jude Thomas got a tough job here. The Australian has got a personal best of 13:09 set in the indoor season. He did get a good win in Tokyo in the 3,000 metres there, the Continental Tour goal, but with a big kick. So I think there's a lot of responsibility here for Jude Thomas, but I think if he drops off at all, Yomif Kejelcha will whiz past him.
Criteria, she marks herself out of 10.
Still bang on the lights here with Jude Thomas doing the work. Those blue lights are set for the pacemaker. The green are at world record pace, 12:35. Yomif Kejelcha was in that wonderful race in Oslo last year when they got very, very close when Gabriel nearly troubled Cheptegei's world record. That 12:36 is the second fastest time ever. Kejelcha in that race put himself as the 4th fastest. Nico Young is making a move there to bridge the gap. Kejelcha was just starting to move away from some of the other athletes behind, particularly Sime of Ethiopia was struggling slightly. Nico Young has bridged the gap, and Graham Blanks, the other American, 12:48 personal best for him the other day. Big run in Oslo. He's got anything Nico Young can do, I can do as well. Maybe not all the way as well to the 5,000 metres, but the belief from Graham Blanks. I think these two have been training together in Europe as well. They've been rooming together and just keeping themselves out of trouble over here on the continent and preparing for Oslo and preparing for this. And so I'm sure he's just locked into that training mentality he's had in the last few weeks.
Moved up to 3rd all time as Graham Blanks, and well, track and field fans stateside are absolutely purring at what's going on. Grant Fisher, we mentioned as well, is also in the mix. So nice little move there from Young, and Blanks has been dragged with him, just covering that gap on Kejelcha. Thomas will step aside very shortly, and then Kejelcha will take it on from here. 7:36, that's a 2:30 kilometre. That's the quickest of the kilometres so far.
And that's what they were aiming for here. Well, they're aiming for and it's a 2-3 for America at the moment in the men's 5,000 metres. Nico Young and Graham Blanks are doing a fantastic job of holding on to Yomif Kejelcha, but Kejelcha has been passive in a few of his races in this season. In that race in Oslo, he just let the pace falter ever so slightly, let it slow down, but not today. Yomif Kejelcha, the 4th fastest man ever, the Ethiopian great, is chasing these lights. He was slightly ahead of the lights a couple of laps ago. I'm not sure whether they're going even or whether they're speeding up, but Yomif Kejelcha looks like a man on a mission as he comes through. This time he will see 3 laps to go. He was faster than Nico Young was in Oslo, faster than Andreas Almgren was through in 3 kilometres. And Nico Young and Graham Blanks working well together in 2nd and 3rd. They're just getting caught there, though, by BALEW of Bahrain. So they could have a group of 4 there. But Yomif Kejelcha, Chris, the focus, it's like Almgren in Stockholm on Sunday. There's a degree of focus here from Yomif Kejelcha. He's locked in to see how fast he can go.
This is a reaction, isn't it? Really good intent. Coming up to 4 kilometres. We're looking for 10-12. 10:07. My God, this man is on fire here. Absolutely. Look at that. That is what, 40, 50 meters now, and he's back with the lights. This is going to be very, very special indeed. This is one talented young man, don't forget. He's been with us since the age of 17. He feels like he's been around forever, and he's still only 27. Great finishing speed as well. This could be something very special. Just dropping off the lights now for the first time.
It's going to be a tough last couple of laps for Yomif Kejelcha. He's staring up at the screen, perhaps looking at that 2 to go, wishing it was 1 to go. It's Yomif Kejelcha. He's certainly going to run himself up, run himself a personal best, perhaps, if he can hold on here in the last couple of laps. The good news, Nico Young, Graham Blanks are ahead of where they were in Oslo, and they closed really quickly there, so hopefully they can lift again here in Paris. But Yomif Kejelcha, he's staying in touch. We mentioned that elastic band when you're an endurance runner. You want to keep that elastic band ahead of the person ahead of you. For Kejelcha, it's the lights, and they're just starting to ease away from the Ethiopian.
Well, just for context, Joshua Cheptegei, when he set the world record in Monaco, was at the bell at 11:35, and Kejelcha is going to be some way off that, but it's been a brilliant performance. As you can see, the green lights now stretching rather frustratingly further away. He really has taken it out of him, and well, he's hopefully not going to be caught from here, but he is looking now rather tired as he approaches the bell.
And I think Yomif Kejelcha, whatever, he can walk away from this knowing he gave it a real go, that he had a go at the world record. He wasn't passive, but he's looking really tired. We're having a big move behind from BALEW of Bahrain, and Graham Blanks is going with him. Jimmy Gressier is bang on the French record, just at the bottom of your shot here. Jimmy Gressier has paced this phenomenally. He's eating up the ground on the athletes in front of him. Yomif Kejelcha has got a lead of around about 30 or 40 metres. It is closing. Graham Blanks and BALEW are on the absolute charge down the back straight, as is Jimmy Gressier. Gressier has moved past Nico Young, but Graham Blanks and BALEW, they're pushing hard as they go through 200 metres. The gap is shortening ever so slightly, but Yomif Kejelcha, he's been looking at the screen. He'll know where the danger is. And you can see it's 23 metres, it's 22 metres. BALEW has got the momentum, Blanks alongside him. I think the American record is going to survive. That's the white lights just going down the track in front of them. But Yomif Kejelcha, a nervous look over his shoulder. He's worked incredibly hard here. BALEW is closing so quickly. BALEW is going to come just short. Yomif Kejelcha looks over his shoulder. He's absolutely exhausted. It's going to be 12:47 for him. A new French record for Jimmy Gressier in 4th place. Graham Blanks, similar to what he managed in Oslo, with a great 3rd place, much higher up than he was at the Oslo Diamond League. But Kejelcha, he gave it a real go. Perhaps too quick through the 3 kilometres, 7:36. When you look at what's happened in those other couple of races, they were 7:42 in Oslo and Stockholm. 10:07 through 4 kilometres, again, much more aggressive than the other 2 races we've seen this week. And perhaps that's why Kejelcha looks so spent in the last couple of laps. So a quick shot there of Jimmy Gressier waving around the national record placard. I wonder if Azzedine Habs might want to take that home. They're going to have to cut it in half and share it.
Yeah, great performance, and judged it nicely, did Jimmy Gressier, lowering his own national record. And once again, the French crowd getting right behind him. But Kejelcha, goodness me, if there'd been another lap to go, Hannah, he would have been caught, no doubt about it. That gap, and the graphic, well done to the graphics team there for producing that, just to see how the gap was getting shorter and shorter. It was over 50 metres at one point and just got eaten away. He really took it out of him, those final few laps, but he just had enough to hang on. And BALEW it was who won the battle for 2nd and 3rd. Good result there for Blanks, backing up that performance in Oslo.
A hug and a kiss from Jan Schrob. These athletes competed together so often against each other and alongside each other in team competitions. So there are the results. Kejelcha, season's best, 12:47, a brave attempt.